Adam strolled through the halls between classes, stopping as he reached an exhibit of artifacts collected from dungeons. Among them was a single box. It was beautiful, to be sure. He got as close as he could despite the rope. Ignoring the plaque, he took a step past, his hand drifting towards the lid, curious as to the contents. Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Today, let's look at a legendary artifact, and the events which led up to humanity being cursed. Pandora's box. Before Pandora was given the box, we need to speak about Prometheus and his actions. He is not one of the Greek gods, but a Titan. He was from the generation before the gods. But when Zeus led his uprising, known as the Titanomachy, Prometheus and his brother Epimetheus betrayed the other Titans and sided with the gods. Prometheus was the creator of mortals, taking clay and sculpting it into a form akin to that of a god. But it required Athena's aid to bring them to life. Prometheus had supposedly attempted to create humans before, and Kronos destroyed them 5 times. That is why he refused to side with the Titans in the Titanomachy. Zeus had wanted to destroy them too, but Prometheus had talked him out of it. Now, we need to look at what Prometheus and Epimetheus' names mean. Prometheus is forethought, and Epimetheus is afterthought. These names are also descriptions of their personalities. Prometheus was intelligent and thoughtful, while Epimetheus was a bit absent-minded. While Prometheus was creating humans, it was Epimetheus' job to hand out gifts and talents to all the beasts of the world. And he didn't plan out his gifts. He gave birds flight and songs, furrow to lions and tigers, and so forth. So when he got to humans, he was empty-handed. Well, Prometheus was proud of his work and created 2 gifts for humans: the ability to walk upright like the gods, and fire. Prometheus would then go and live amongst the humans, teaching them arts and the beginning of society. Now, Zeus wasn't too pleased, but was willing to entertain them if they made a sacrifice. But what was to be the sacrifice? Prometheus made an offer. He would prepare 2 offerings to Zeus, who would then choose which he wants, and the humans could have the other. Now, Prometheus is pretty crafty and took a bowl and slaughtered it. In its stomach, he would place the meat, and then took the bones and coated them in a thick layer of fat. The first looked disgusting, but held the best parts, and the second looked appealing at first glance, but has something unpleasant hidden inside. And Zeus failed his due diligence in looking at the offerings, and took the bone wrapped in fat. Now, he was pissed, and had to accept the sacrifices of bone and fat, because he was trapped by his words. Though that didn't stop him from stealing fire from humans. Well, Prometheus then snuck up to the sun and stole an ember to return it to humans. Yeah, Prometheus was the champion of humanity. And of course, Zeus sees flames from the top of Mount Olympus. He hunts down and chains Prometheus to a mountain. The Caucasian eagle, a giant bird that was the child of Echidna and Typhon, brother to creatures like Cerberus and the Hydra, was then sent to devour Prometheus' liver daily. Don't worry, as a Titan, his liver grows back each night. The reason his liver was chosen was because the ancient Greeks believed that it was the liver which controlled our emotions. Now, Prometheus could have been freed if he had revealed which of Zeus's own children were to overthrow him. Yes, the god of forethought had that information, supposedly told to him by his mother. But he refused. Instead, he would remain there until 2 conditions were met. An immortal had to sacrifice himself for Prometheus, and the Caucasian eagle had to be slain. The first was done by the centaur Chiron, and Heracles would defeat the eagle. While Prometheus was chained up, Zeus turns his wrath to Epimetheus and the humans. Zeus summons the blacksmith god Hephaestus. He would work to create the most beautiful woman he could. She is the first known mortal woman, Pandora. Her name meaning bearer of all gifts. Zeus wasn't done. He then roused a competition between the gods of who could give the best gift. Aphrodite added beauty, Athena cleverness, music from Apollo, and Hermes gave her a seductive voice, each god adding their own blessing. While this decorating game was going on, Zeus got hold of a jar, or a box in later versions. He would seal it shut and give it to Pandora. Then, taking her hand, guided her to Epimetheus and offered her to him as his bride. Now Epimetheus forgot his brother's warning not to accept any gifts from Zeus. But Epimetheus was infatuated with Pandora on sight and accepted her as his wife. Now, remember that box or jar she had? She was told by Zeus to never open it. But amongst the gifts given was curiosity, and in time it got the better of her. Just like a child with a present sitting on a table, she opened it. Out flew every despicable thing that was sealed inside: disease, deceit, malice, cruelty, and more. All things which humanity had not had to deal with prior were set loose upon them. But Pandora was able to seal the chest before it was empty, either by her own volition or at Zeus's urging. Now, what was left in the box? There is some disagreement on that, depending on the source. The most common is hope, something that humanity could cling to in their darkest days, which guided them forward, a little light in the darkness, which would encourage them to strive forward even when they had nothing to gain. You could see this as either a blessing or a wicked trick. Yet, there is another thing said to be in the box, and that is foreboding and knowledge of what is to come. To know what cruel fate it is that you await, how you will die, and how you will suffer in the days ahead. That is truly a terrifying thing, is it not? And potentially just as cruel as blind hope. Would you not agree? The story of Pandora's box is that of the dangers of excessive curiosity. There is no telling what may befall you if you recklessly seek something without thinking. That is why Prometheus and Epimetheus are both involved. It is Epimetheus' lack of planning and thought which resulted in there not being a gift for humanity, and that he was not being cautious when Zeus approached him. No, Epimetheus was short-sighted and a bad match for Pandora. She is the same. Oh, she thought about what was in the box. Zeus told her to never open it. That is the perfect seed to grow into a menagerie of wild ideas about what could be inside. I mean, she knew Zeus was a god, and that was a gift from him. Who wouldn't be curious as to the contents, wouldn't you? Yet none of this could have come to pass if Prometheus hadn't been captured first. If he had still been free, he would have stopped his brother from accepting such a gift from Zeus. Now, he couldn't have known what was in the jar or box without opening, but he may have been able to surmise some of its contents, or at least would have attempted to hide the jar. He would have sat and thought about everything. Yeah, he is the kind to look a gift horse in the mouth. Yet I must ask, Prometheus seems to be a brilliant strategist, wouldn't you agree? And we see this with his torment. Getting his liver ripped out and eaten daily has got to hurt. But he did escape thanks to others without divulging which of Zeus's children would be his downfall. Even during his torment, he had his eyes on the prize. We do see similarities to other tales though. Humans made from Earth? Well, isn't that something that happened in the book of Genesis? Yep. Oh, and it was a woman there too, which brought suffering down upon humans. Eve ate the apple, which led humanity down a dark path. I'm sure you could see a few other parallels. This tale shows us how important Greeks thought fire was to human progression. And I can't argue. Fire provided us with a means to cook and produce metal in time. Truly, mastering of it was one of the most impactful things in human history. Though, what would have happened if Pandora had never opened the jar and let forth all the evils of the world to plague humanity? Well, a much better place, perhaps? No sickness or strife? A Garden of Eden. But humans wouldn't have advanced like we have. It is overcoming those obstacles which has spurred forth most of our advancements. And this brings up a rather interesting thought regarding everything. Could Prometheus have planned all of this, getting humans to suffer the plagues, discord, and suffering to further our own advancements? Just look at how he tricked Zeus with the sacrifices. The Titan was brilliant and could predict Zeus. So, who is to say this whole story wasn't his plan? Okay, how did he suspect that someone like Pandora would be created, and then the jar would be given to his brother with her? Yeah, it would definitely be a stretch, but maybe part of it was his plan, or at least the end stage. Though it is said that either hope or foreboding was left in the box. But what if there are more? What horrors are also kept inside? Regardless, this is a story which has defined our modern lexicon in language, to be sure. Adam lifted the lid and smiled. A fake. He shouldn't be surprised. This was a school with countless children, all of them too curious. Hey, even he couldn't resist taking a peek. Laughing, he continued his walk. I guess human nature hasn't changed. The story of Pandora's box really shows the true nature of humans. Our curiosity has often gotten the better of us across history. Always, we want to know. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next time for Ku Kalan. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.